so freaking bad? Wrestle me.
Welcome, everybody, to Juice Pro Wrestling episode 164, Walking Weapon. With us, we have a very special guest this week. He's the current reigning, defending, unmotherfucking disputed X Division champion. He is known as the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander! What the hell is up, brother?
The first thing that's going through my mind is you 100% either don't have neighbors or you live in the hood, and you definitely don't have kids. And it's just like that.
A couple things. I'm gonna have to correct you on a couple things. I'm very close to the hood. All right, I'm very right next to Gary, Indiana. Hey, how you doing, guys? And I do have kids, but he's in bed right now, and I'm in my studio, which is a attached part of my house.
Backyard.
Yeah, if you become a Juice Pro Wrestling young boy, you can see it. This whole thing we're doing, it's really fucking stupid. But anyways, brother.
That was awesome.
Let's just kick in. We're going to talk a little bit about wrestling tonight. I want to kick into something that I thought was fucking amazing. Now, first, X Division champion, like I stated. Dude, but not only are you the X Division champion, to me personally, it feels like you are the X Division champion that Impact / TNA has needed for a long fucking time, dude, because the legitimacy and the prestige, I think you're bringing back to that belt. This is no Mark shit, whatever. It could be Mark. I don't care. I fucking like you. I'm a Mark for you. Is amazing, dude, because that title and everything you've been doing, dude, that fucking Iron Man match. Come on, dude. And without being a guy who's, doing all the flippy stuff. Now, I will say this. There was a point in maybe the Hogan Bischoff era where TNA fucked it all up, fucked the X Division up because they, all of a sudden it was a title where there was no limits. A guy like Samoa Joe, who was also not a flippy guy, was the champ. He held every belt there, but including that one. So anybody could win that belt. It was just about like no limits. And then it got into weight classes and it became like a cruiserweight deal. And I think it was like really devalued when that was the title more so than the world title that brought that company to prominence. So dude, how does it feel? And I want to get your opinion on this. Do you feel like this is something also that you were doing? Have you had people telling you that, man, this feels like a new era for this belt, that you're just bringing it up there and just knocking it out of the fucking park, or what, man?
I've had a few people mention that to me, not just fans, like wrestlers and stuff that have been involved with TNA Impact for years. And like, it obviously feels awesome because that was my goal when they said I was going to be in the X Division, when this all like kind of came to be. I was like, just make me the new Samoa Joe of the X Division. Like that would be my dream scenario. Let me just go have like bomb ass matches and get my wrestling over, and in turn I'll get over because of my in-ring product. Because as a fan, that's all I felt Samoa Joe did. I don't remember I remember one promo involving Samoa Joe, and it was because of Scott Steiner. So like, I don't remember any promos or backstage involvement of Samoa Joe from his like TNA Impact era. I remember his matches and how insanely like, his presence like just captured me and all this other stuff. So like, that's the kind of thing that I wanted to bring back to the X Division. I said that in promos and stuff, and maybe I just like spoke it into existence or whatever, but I feel like Impact management right now is recognized that like I can go out and be reliable and consistent in the ring every single time, no matter who my opponent is. So they're just kind of running with that. And as X Division champion, it's kind of returned to that old thing of like Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Chris Sabin, all these guys that were just reliably consistent every single time they had like a match. And that's what the X Division was to me. It was like every time there was an X Division match, you're going to see like badass wrestling. You're going to see match of the night stuff. And that's like what I love.
Yeah, man. And you're bringing it. Like, it feels good, dude. It feels good to see that as a fan of, TNA since its inception. that like, and dude, they've been knocking it out of the park for the last several years now. And it's been so awesome to see them build back up to where they are now, to where they have a working relationship with, AAA and New Japan and AEW, which, that just blows my mind, as I'm sure it does for many of wrestling fans, because you get to see all these like different dream scenarios. And, if anybody out there watching and listening right now has been keeping up with Impact, I mean, you have your sights set on something more because you've been whipping everybody's ass. You need something more. You've been defeating guys from New Japan, from AAA. Who is it that you really want to lock up with, man, no matter where they're at right now? Because the forbidden door has been blown wide the fuck open. So who is it that you want to lock it up with?
I could name 100 names. I've been asked this question probably like 100 times in the last like 3 to 4 months or however long it's been. It's almost been longer. But like, you start with Kenny Omega. Clearly, he's the Impact champion. He's the guy that was regarded as the best wrestler on planet Earth for so long, and probably still is. I don't know, what it is anymore. But like, I can run down the list of like guys that I love and that I want, like Ishii, Shingo from New Japan. Pac, Eddie Kingston from AEW, AAA. I would love a match with the Kingo again on a bigger stage because we had one in Mexico City for Impact tapings when I was. Yeah, and I think we could just like, it would show a completely different side of me to even more fans that didn't get to see that first one. So like, yeah, I would take matches with anybody in any other company just because I think it's interesting. But those are the ones.
And I love it, dude, being, like I said, being the X Division champion and defending that belt wherever, whenever. Me and Stratton were lucky enough to see you do it at Pele Pro down in Texas. It was fucking awesome. Like, that's what needs to happen, like bring that belt wherever. Show how fucking awesome you are in the ring, dude, because you are. You give me like, you got the strong style thing going, but I also get almost like Kurt Angle / Rick Steiner vibes from you and shit, man. Like, it's very cool. As an old dude, I'm 38 years old. I've been watching wrestling since I was like 5, but I can't praise you enough for the work that you've been able to do with this belt. And it's super exciting to see the possibilities. And I'm seeing, the promo you cut with Omega and everything. And it's like, oh my God, are they going to fucking do this match? Like, it's money in the bank. Not to quote the other guys, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, it would be awesome to have it happen. It was cool to just get that interaction in there and see if people were interested. And like, everything blew up for me. So that little thing showing that like fans and like everybody wants to see that match means that it's worth money somewhere. So maybe it'll happen down the road.
Let me ask you this. So when Ethan Page left, and obviously the North, who was another great tag team. I mean, Jesus Christ, they were there, and there was very few to come. TNA / Impact had a lot of great tag teams, but I think more recently, like, you guys stood out. 2-time tag champs, along with the new version Santana and Ortiz of LAX. But you guys really stood out as a great tag team tandem. So it was kind of heartbreaking to see that split. But when Ethan went to AEW, were you sitting there kind of like, all right, thinking to yourself, what the hell are they going to do with me now? Or were you like, this is going to be it. They're going to give me this is my opportunity to shine.
A little bit of both. I'm super like, I don't think it's like negative or like self-conscious or anything. I don't know how to describe it, but like, I just always assume the worst or want to expect the worst while trying to remain positive. So when he left, I knew he'd be fine doing whatever he was going to do. I think he's supremely talented, and clearly it's like, he is fine. Like, I was right. It was an easy bet to make. But me being an Impact and having like a year left on my contract after doing all this, and like, I came into the company, man, I don't think I lost a match like in Impact really, other than like random singles matches that were building like tag team matches. Because like, I came in
booked like the fucking Walking Weapon, man.
Like, yeah, like I was lucky. Like, I didn't have to wait for an opportunity. I came in and they were like, you guys are going to be the next tag team, because I think they had a hunch that LAX was going to like take their talents elsewhere. So they knew they had to build up a new team. We were just like the right guys at the time to take the torch from LAX and carry it further. And so when he left, especially at a big company and all this other stuff, and everything we did together clearly prepared me. I had a shitload of singles matches. Anytime there was a singles match needed out of the North, it was me booked in it. And it was like me and Marufuji, me and Vikingo, me and Eddie Kingston, me and TJP. Like I had all these marquee singles matches on television building the bigger matches. And like I got to show that I could do this stuff as a single. So it was just me having the confidence to know that I when I had the opportunities, I could make the best of them. But like the thing in the back of your head is how long are you gonna be sitting on the bench?
Right.
And for me, man, I fucking hate sitting. I hate sitting on the bench. I hate not wrestling. Like I'm here to wrestle. I want to be in that ring. A lot of guys just want to be there to get a paycheck and cut their promos and bump as little as possible. And I'm just the guy that like, to me, that's like, not to be like, I don't know if it's like lame, but like, that's where like I paint my picture. That's where like I make my art. And to me, wrestling is art. Like I get a lot of satisfaction out of every match I do.
To borrow from Christian Cage, you're there to outwork everyone.
yeah.
Dude, what was
that's always my well, no, I'm like supremely competitive, and like even though wrestling, and now clearly with like the last 25 years we've completely added wrestling and shown that it's like scripted or predetermined or whatever you want to call it.
We're gonna have to bleep you for that. You dropped the F-bomb. Damn it. It's all good though. Continue.
The fuck. Yeah, whatever. Like I don't care. Like people can call it whatever they want. It doesn't matter to me. I have my own idea of what pro wrestling is, and it might differ from everybody else. But yeah, I'm even competitive with this scripted pro wrestling or predetermined pro wrestling that it is. And a lot of wrestlers know that, and some don't enjoy working with me because of it, because I'm not ever going to take a night off. But it's just the way I'm wired, and I can't change it.
Well, then that's good. And I've heard Mark Henry talk about this recently. I mean, you got to be wired like that in order to be like a top tier talent in the business. At least my opinion, a lot of other top guys, I'm sure, share that same sentiment, man, because it is a competition. You are all competing for a spot, like albeit it is predetermined. Who cares? You still want to be the best and go the hardest you can to get to where you're at. Like right now, you are. I mean, I would think, at least when I think of Impact right now, not just because you're on the show, but I think your name comes up. And it's very cool because you went from being the tag team guy that was kicking ass to now like a face of this company, which is doing so many things with so many other brands. And that's so awesome, brother. And that's so good for you because I'm sure this is just going to open a plethora of doors for you, man. And, you're knowing like the struggles, and you're coming back from adversity and injuries. You've had some major neck injuries in this industry, man. And it's just been amazing to see like you be able to come back from that. I mean, how scary was that shit? Like, how many neck injuries was it? Like 2 or 3?
I had two neck injuries, 2 neck surgeries. It was all for one major injury though, and I needed 2 surgeries to fix it. That was like, I thought it was 2 separate injuries, but it was all really just one re-aggravated one.
And was that back from AAW or?
Yes. Ring of Honor was the first one. I took a DDT and broke my neck completely, like crushed disc and herniated the C4, C5. Yeah. And I worked through that and then had surgery, and I came back after 6 weeks, which is like the story of how dumb I am. But, when you want something so bad and you spent your whole life working for it, I didn't see any other options.
Right.
So I did that, and then 6 months later I re-injured it, and I thought I had a more severe injury. That's why I thought I had to retire and all that stuff. And that was when I won the AEW Heavyweight Championship and all this other stuff, and I had to, lose it 2 months later or whatever it was before I retired. But then I was lucky enough to come back, and now, I've had it brought up to me recently. Taylor Wilde had me on her podcast, and she was like, "Yeah, and it's always the question that comes up about my neck." And she was like, you could have been paralyzed or something. And I don't know if it definitely never crossed my mind that I could have been, like, she brought up like Christopher Reeves. And I was just like, it was just like this, like light bulb went off in my head for the first time 5 years after I actually broke my neck. I was like, damn, she's right. I could have been like completely a quadriplegic. That's crazy. How come I never thought of that? Right. And like nobody ever really said that to me and all this other stuff. And I think it's really just because like I've idolized guys in this business and they've all broken their necks. And it's always like
some of them have won Olympic gold.
Yeah,
with a
you just
broken
break your
freaking-
neck. Like that's what happens.
Snap your fingers, break your neck.
Like he, dude, I listen to Kurt Angle's podcast now, and like he has brought up like, yeah, I broke my neck in 3 places when Brock Lesnar hit me in the head with a chair, and then he continued to work for a year. And I'm like, how many times did this guy break his neck? But like, that's what I mean. Like, to me, as a wrestler and a wrestling fan and like a wrestling, like just obsessed person, like breaking a neck, there's no like, other than draws, I guess, there's never been like a fear of being paralyzed. You know what I'm saying? So it never popped into my head.
Damn, that's a scary thing. I mean, look at even guys like probably one of the most famous grapplers ever, Stone Cold, you know, Owen Hart fucking laid him out big time, you know, like Taz is another guy, had a history of neck
Sabu
issues
too.
Yeah, dude, it's just it's a scary thing, but it's crazy that like, I mean, it's so fucking respectable at the same time because that's the old school mentality. You know, you talk to guys like RVD and all the old school cats are like, you get injured, you fucking work through it, you know? But also there's that business sense, but there's that part of you that's so driven that you're willing to do that and not necessarily think of the consequences. I mean, to me, that's fucking respectable. I'm not going to say it's either smart nor stupid, but it is fucking respectable, dude.
Well, yeah, like in the injury thing, like I'm wired very old school. My trainer, he was from the dungeon, all this other stuff. And like, I don't know if it's an old school sensibility or just like, I don't want to do anything else. And like the thought of losing this when I thought I had to retire. And when I came back, I was just like I never want to lose this again. I never want to miss out on a booking again. Yeah. And I've had a pretty cursed last, like this whole X Division run or singles run, I've been pretty cursed with injuries. Like I've worked through a bunch throughout this past year. Like I broke my heel at Hard to Kill, and
we saw you at Black Label. What was it last year? Didn't you tear your bicep or something?
Yeah, I tore my bicep. Before a Black Label show, I tore my pec the year before that. I tore part of my lat at Ultimate X 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
like
damn.
It's just like one thing after another. There's always some like one crazy thing, and I've become very good at working around injuries and like rehabbing and doing all this stuff. Like my lat's fine now. Like there's no I wrestled at, you saw me at Pele Pro, like you were saying a couple weeks ago, and like I was fine. But like it's just trying to maintain health so you don't miss time, because like the last thing I want to do is get paid to stay home. I'm not that guy. I'm like the lunchbox and hard hat guy. You know what I'm saying? I want to go in there and work. But
speaking of working, what was let's shoot a little bit before wrestling came along. What the hell were you doing to make ends meet, man?
I discovered wrestling when I was 18 in university for business, and soon after starting training, I dropped out of school because, I hated it, and this wrestling thing was awesome. So I could just do that all the time. And I didn't think of the consequence of not making any money. So like, I had to find a career or a job to fund my wrestling obsession, to keep myself on the road and keep myself going. So I got whatever job would pay me the best and let me have Fridays off as often as possible. I became a tire technician, and I was a tire technician for about 8 to 10 years. So fixing heavy truck and machinery tires on the side of the road, on the side of the highway, at construction sites, working all hours of the day. Like it's insane. I did that for a long time. I was an electrician for a long time, and I've been a construction worker for the last few years.
Hell yeah, dude. And I mean, that's
I can totally see that.
Yeah, Bodie, we can identify with that shit, dude. We do the band gigs, so it's like, especially early on, like in our 20s, it's like, well, hey, we're gonna go play Houston tomorrow. It's like, all right, I'll quit my job. I had a good land surveying gig. I'd probably make it like $30-40 an hour if I would have stuck with it. But it's something you love, something you're passionate about, and especially when you're young, dude, it's so easy to say fuck it to everything, when
I'll make it work.
Kids. And just go do there's a lot of parallels I always see with like the wrestling and music industry. It's crazy, man. You're willing to go out and do these things and pretty much starve for your art too, man. Yeah,
that's why like the tire job works so well, because it was a job where you can get a license. You need a license to do it. But you
Right.
can get the license in a weekend course after 3 months of experience. So I didn't do shows and stuff and take time off for that 3 months. But once I got that license, I knew I could quit a job whenever I want and get another job the next day, because like that job sucks. That is one of the most labor intensive jobs on planet Earth.
Dude, I
And
sell
nobody
semi
wants
truck
to do it.
parts.
So I could always find somebody that wanted to keep me on.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I deal with those people all the time. It is
Yeah.
fucking intense, especially in the winters, dude. Holy shit. You guys get some gnarly winters. I mean, dude, we're Chicagoland too. So it's, I get you on that, but goddamn, fuck that.
Yeah, I'm happy I don't do it anymore.
Hey, being a manager at Starbucks during 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. peak, that's nothing to sneeze at either. Getting in the trenches. No, that shit was wild, actually, when I did that.
Did you meet Tony Schiavone?
I wish, man. No, not when I was living in Wisconsin. No, but I did meet Seamus. I met Seamus. He came through my drive-through one time, and I talked to him for a little bit. I met Joey Belladonna, too.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I met a lot of people. Yeah. I used to work at the one by the highway, and there used to be a ton of people coming by.
Speaking of Anthrax and music and shit, Josh, I'm curious. What are you into musically?
I mean, not much that's recent. Like I was looking at my Spotify playlist, and like it's like anything within the last 10 years I don't seem to listen to too much. So like I go back to like a lot of the stuff I listen to is what I work out to. So like if I'm working out, it's like, wow, the hardest stuff I would listen to is like Korn, Slipknot, Dead and Divine, some Every Time I Die, something like that. But like
nice.
I'll listen to hip hop, I'll listen to country. The stuff I go to when I'm like driving down the road by myself is like Neil Young and Pink Floyd and all the stuff I grew up listening to because my dad was a musician.
Right on.
But
hell yeah.
Yeah.
What'd your dad play, man?
Everything. So my dad was not taught how to play an instrument. My dad wasn't good at anything but art. Like he could take a crayon and look at your face and draw like a perfect portrait of you, no problem.
Wow.
My dad, like career alcoholic, he was just like a troubled soul. But like art wise, like he could pick up a guitar, just listen to it, and then play a song. Like it was crazy. He could do anything with that stuff.
Did that ever? You ever have any interest in playing any instruments or no?
Oh yeah, sure. Everybody wants to learn how to play the guitar or the drums or something at some point in their life.
You get chicks.
I don't have that artistic bone in my body. Exactly. I didn't get that artistic gene handed down to me at all. Yeah.
I know you make some pretty damn good art in the ring.
Man, I tried for years and it just didn't have the patience and didn't have.
I think
that's the only thing. That's the only thing I'm good at, man. I'm good at that.
You're selling yourself short, like Bodie said.
And I'll take it because I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's artwork, man. If watching you wrestle,
I would have had less injuries if I was a drummer, though, right?
Oh, of course, maybe some blisters.
I don't know about that, dude. Our drummer Brad's pretty good, man, because he plays like Animal from the Muppets, and it's just insane.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
So his body's a little tore up from the years and just blasting all crazy and poor posture, I guess. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
My mom's boyfriend's been a drummer for like 35 years or something like that, or 40 years. I don't know how old he is, but since he was like 14. And when I watch this guy play, sometimes like he'll get off after like, what is it, a show, like 40 minutes, usually about 30, 40 minutes, I guess he plays with his band. And like, he'll get off and he's just like drenched from head to toe. Everybody else on stage, maybe the guitarist might look a little winded, but like everybody else is pretty chill. But this guy's just like drenched and like 55 years old. And I'm just like, that's a workout, bro. Like,
dude, that ain't no fucking lie,
no,
man.
It ain't. No, it ain't.
It don't matter unless you're Ringo Starr. You ain't, he never put work into the fucking drum kit. Like whatever. I love the Beatles, but come on, Ringo ain't a good drummer.
Neither is Lars Ulrich.
Yeah, that is true as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what's some kind of other shit you like to do? You're up from Canada, man. Is there anything kind of like outdoorsy you like doing, or maybe getting a good workout outdoors or some shit?
Well, like I grew up in a place called Muskoka. Well, I went to high school up there, so like I spent the later part of my life, my adolescence there, and it's like cottage country. So like, I don't know what's down there, like if the Ozarks are a real thing for like that kind of like lake life cottages and whatever, or I just know that because of Netflix. I don't know anywhere in America that's like this, but yeah.
No shame.
But like it's that 10,000 people in the winter, and then come summertime, there's 250,000 people in my town. And, you know, there's bike trails all over the place. So I used to downhill mountain bike all the time. I used to snowboard every winter. I used to kind of golf with my friends in the summer, stuff like that. Everything that I have no time and haven't done in at least 15 years, because everything's been pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So like now the stuff I do all revolves around my kids in my free time, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, man. You know, and you seem like a great father. So that's, you know, we all have kids except for Sren, because no one wants to lay with him. But you know, it's all good, man. Respect you as a father. You know, Sren, I can't help it. You know it's sad but true. Piece of shit, Sren.
He's kind of handsome.
Thank you. Keep going.
It's all right.
My favorite thing to do with my kids is go to the beach, though.
Yeah.
Go chill out at the beach. Yeah.
Down by the beach, boy.
Yeah, it's the best.
I love that.
The beach is the best.
Dude,
man.
the kid Kevin, when I take my kids to the beach, I love watching them play in the ocean and just hitting the waves and stuff like that. But not when my youngest gets some of that water in his mouth from the Gulf. You know, it's pretty salty. He's all like, "Ooh, yeah," it makes his stomach hurt. But I just love watching my kids, just how they react to the ocean and just the sand and just everything like that. So I can definitely relate to where you're coming from on that.
Good shit, man. At least you guys are enjoying awesome beaches. Me and Sren, our beaches are like, we look at their steel mills like right on the side, like you know, air quality. Not good.
Is that Lake Erie or whatever? What's the closest?
Like Michigan.
We're Lake Michigan, but don't let Wallace trick you. Around the Chicagoland area, there's steel mills everywhere. But if you just go a little farther north into Michigan, there's a bunch of beautiful beaches. Some of the top-rated beaches in the United States.
Impure. I'm sorry.
It's very pretty. Hey, I do want to ask one thing, and I'll shut the fuck up. But you're talking about all those injuries that you've had. Being a person that's that's a self-proclaimed body guy of podcasting, but I'm a lumpy
Stealing your
guy.
brother's gimmick, man. Stealing your brother's gimmick.
What was I going to say? Oh, is there something that you do in particular because you've been you've been injured so many times in the last few years? Is there some regiment that you have that is different from other people? Is it like ice baths, acupuncture? Now, when you watch a lot of these wrestling guys, you see a lot of the cupping.
Yeah.
Do you have a thing that other people are doing, or is it just something that you've been doing wrestling for so long with such an obsession that you know exactly what to do when you get hurt in order to kind of get back at it and get full range of motion and full strength and all those kind of things? Like, do you have any secrets to share?
I wish I did. I see all these guys with the bruises from the cupping and all these different gadgets that they use and stuff like that. And
like a penis
honestly,
enlarger for your back.
My whole my whole philosophy is motion is good. So motion is lotion, or whatever they say. If I get hurt, the next morning I'm up and I'm on like the elliptical or the stairs and I'm moving regardless for an hour every single day. And it's on my days off, dude. If I take like a weekend off with my kids and I just go somewhere, like during the pandemic, this happened frequently, and like my back would seize up from not moving around or going for a workout that day. So like, I just think I got to work out every single day to keep everything going. Right.
Yeah. Damn, you're going to hate yourself when you're old. I can't move.
That's me right now.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to last that long anyway.
No. Fucking Iron Man lasts forever, dude. Right?
The oldest living man in my family was 62 years old. The second oldest was 58.
Get the fuck out of here.
So,
wow.
At least for the last 3 generations. Yeah. It's been like heart disease or like cancer, or they're all like heavy drinkers and heavy smokers though. So maybe I might, turn things around, but
there you go.
Who knows?
Yeah. Put a more positive spin on that situation, brother. Damn. Hey,
I'm a big motion is lotion fight.
Well,
there
you are. yeah, you need that. But like, if anything I've learned over this past like 18 months of like coronavirus hysteria is that like there's a certain amount of like, I don't want to not live my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I want to live my life to the fullest so that I'm happy at the time I go. I don't want to be like, and I'm just using this as an example because there was a time in Canada, we were locked up for 14 months. We just had restaurants open like last month for the first time.
We had Shane
So, like,
Saber on
we
the
were, like,
show,
locked
man.
up
He
up
was
here,
saying it
like,
was a
this isn't
nightmare.
this isn't really living.
Right.
It was the worst. And it's just like, it's not living. Like I'm looking at my 3-year-old, I'm just like, he's crying to go somewhere. And you're like, no, we can't leave the house, you know? And like, that's not life. And so like, that's what I mean. Like, I want to go out and I want to do everything I want to do regardless. If it's going to make me hurt a little bit or go a little bit early, it'll all be worth it in the end.
Oh yeah, especially doing shit with your kids, man. That's what it's all about. Like it sucks to be fucking, you know, as a father, to be trapped in your house, dude. My youngest son is a COVID baby. He's 15 months. You know, that was a weird experience to, you know, have my old lady give birth in that, and I couldn't. I was the only person allowed in there, and I felt like I was trapped in the hospital for like 2.5 days. They're like, you can't even leave this room. Like when I got there, I started to get like real nervous, and I don't know why, but I was like, I need to go out and have a smoke or calm down. I'm not going to tell them that. I'm like, oh, well, I forgot, you know, his go home bag. Or like, well, as soon as you leave and come back, that's it. You ain't doing anything until this fucking show is over. And it was just, dude, it was crazy. It was weird, man.
That is really insane.
Yeah.
But like, you know, at the time, like the first little bit of this, man, I had no idea what it was either. I was terrified, but like, you know, as time goes on, you start to learn more things, and you know, so does everybody else. It's just crazy that like hospitals were shut down and stuff. I know people that had like loved ones die, and they weren't allowed in the hospital to go see them before they passed away and stuff. And you're like, what are we doing? Like to that, I was just like, you need to like let these people have their family near them when they pass away. If one of them gets COVID, I understand, like quarantine them or something, but like, it was just a weird time that we all had to live through.
Yeah it'd be crazy, like thinking like, you know, our kids will be reading about this shit in the history books. Like it's just a weird thing to think about, man. Like, hey, everything shut the fuck down for a while. And like you were saying, you know, with Canada being, you guys were pretty damn strict. You know, we've had an independent wrestler, shout out to Ava Lawless. We've had Shane Saber on, PCO, like they all said the same thing, man. It was not fucking pleasant. You know, Shane, he's like, dude, I was just drinking kombucha and playing board games.
Yeah. He'll go for a walk in the woods by himself and like for like 5 hours, and that's like his fun time. And I'm like, I can't do that. I need like a indoor play place to set my kids free or some shit like that, right?
Right. So who do you kick it up with up there, man? Like the independent dudes up there.
Actually, you mentioned Shane Saber. He lives like 10 minutes away from me. We both kind of live in the middle of nowhere up here, and he's really good friends with my wife. He has been since before, you know, I ever got with my wife. So like, he's around the most out of everybody. And like lately, dude, it's me, Shane Saber, maybe Shooting the Indies, if you've ever heard of him. He's like become one of my best friends in the last few years. Yeah, and that's about it, man. Like everybody else is like I'm so busy. Like it's tough to like get any time for anybody but my family most of the time. So.
Well, and that's the most important people you got to make time for, you know. Pro wrestling, dude, if you don't eat, breathe, and fucking shit pro wrestling, then it's hard to find that success, you know, to reach that status of a guy like a Stone Cold or The Rock or any of that, you know. It's, you got to fucking live and die by the sword, quote Slayer.
Nice.
Yeah, I luckily I don't have like I find a lot of wrestlers that have like a real strong family presence, or like they grew up with like a tight knit family and stuff like that. They're the ones that have trouble actually pursuing wrestling. Like I like, for a weird thing, like I was lucky to not have like a strong family sense at home, and like I don't have a lot of family even like around. You know what I mean? Like so like I don't have aunts and uncles and all these people I got to keep happy by going to their niece's bar mitzvah or wedding or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? So like,
Quinceañera.
like I've never had that. So like I've just seen a lot of people have to suffer with that. So for me, I just make time for my family and that's it.
There you go.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Got to.
Speaking of making time, I hear you also like to make time for a little bit of conspiracy theory here. When I talk about conspiracy, I ain't talking about, well, maybe a little bit of government, but of the alien extraterrestrial variety, if you will. Let's talk a little bit about that, brother, because I work with a guy, Zoran Trapesky, who's timekeeper at Warrior Wrestling, and he also does some refereeing at Black Label and some other shit. And he kind of filled me in, man. He used to have like what was it, FBI second clearance or however the fuck you pronounce that on some shit, and he told me he shared some documents with you. I'm very interested in that because I don't know, man. I've just always been this guy who didn't want to be tied up into that because I think like a lot of people in life get tied up into some shit, like especially the what's after life and all that. And it kind of makes some people, not assuming that's you, but makes some people some very bad people when you try to figure shit out that just wasn't meant to be figured out. But the alien thing does strike curiosity with me because there is a lot of questionable shit with that, man. So let's kind of dive into that, man. What's your take on all that?
Oh, yeah.
I think first of all, do you think aliens exist?
Definitely.
Yes. I've been to Mexico once.
Terrible joke.
No,
Terrible
joke. But yes, I do think there is a reality of something, some life form somewhere. I mean, it has to. You would think.
Yeah, not just in space, but I also think extra dimensional beings too.
Yes. So like they've established, or like NASA and all these crazy scientists that are supposed to be the smartest people on Earth have established that the universe is infinite. And if you understand the concept of infinite, I think we'd be really, really egotistical to assume that we are the smartest, longest living beings in the entire galaxies or universe or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think aliens have to exist, whether or not they're smart enough to, jump through black holes and get to different places is a different argument altogether. So you have to start with that when you talk about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But lately, I think, it's real weird. Like, conspiracy theorists and stuff like that, like they like to point this stuff out, and like some of it makes me scratch my head. You're like, why is the CIA and FBI releasing this stuff right now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why did they decide while the news is flooded with COVID every single day with this like death countdown that everybody's watching, instead of whatever's on the ticker at the bottom, decide to have the ticker at the bottom go through and say the FBI releases a thing saying like UFOs exist. And then there's a video and there's all this other stuff. And like, there's this guy named Commander Fravor who like has like a video and firsthand account of this. And like his story has never changed. And Bay's describing is the stuff that's on this video. And like, I think it's all insane. I don't know. Like the what is a yes, but the why is like, I have no idea. That's where I'm interested. That's where I listen to people like the guy you work with and other people. And I'm just like, I want their take on it. Cause like,
right.
I like to like listen to like every different opinion and be like, where am I going to fall in here? And they're all fun though. They're all fun. That's why I like hearing about all this stuff. Cause it's just like entertaining to me. But I remember my mother, when I was like 13, she like bumped into a friend from high school, and like I had to go to her house after school one night. And this lady turned out to be like a complete like nut job on the surface. Like what she was talking about, how like yeah, and like it was really crazy. But like she gave my mom this secret chess tape at the end of the night. So my mom went home, and at the time we had a guy living in our basement, and she went down and she was like, hey, my husband doesn't want to watch this tape. Do you want to watch it? It's like a secret UFO tape. And I remember going down because I was curious, and I was like 12 years old. And it was like this guy with a whiteboard behind him. And apparently he was like briefing, like it was like a secret briefing talking about like, if you go to the dark side of the moon, it's all bases and all this other stuff. And he was saying, this was like, I want to say like 1998 when she got this thing, or 1999. So like, yeah, I was about 12. And I remember he said in the year 2012, they're going to flush the aliens out from underground because they're living underground in Earth. or whatever, and they have bases and all this stuff. And in 2012, they have a plan to like flush it out. So like from that moment on, when I heard that, it stuck in my head, dude. Everybody was talking about like the Mayan calendar and all this stuff in 2012. In 2012, like I woke up every day being like, when are these aliens popping out of the ground, man? Like I was terrified for my whole life.
Look at my proton pack.
It never. Yeah, it never happened. So then I was just like, oh, so maybe this guy was just nuts. Okay, well, whatever. It was fun. But yeah, I I'm really curious. I've seen these videos of like ships dropping into the ocean and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, it would make sense because we know more about outer space apparently than we do our own oceans. So
And that's
crazy.
it'd be a good place
Dude, that's
to
a good
hide.
point because I wanted to ask you too because I've heard this theory now that they're talking like what is it, like squid or octopus or some, or were brought to Earth, from another planet,
Right.
which is
I've heard that.
I'm not going to say that's a crazy theory. I mean, because like you said, we don't know shit about the ocean. The ocean, there's only like so far we can go. We can go, and I'm, obviously space is somewhat limited to our capabilities right now in technology. But like you said, dude, we've been to more places in space than we have in this ocean, which the ocean just freaks me out, dude. Like, especially when you get down into the darkest, coldest depths of the ocean, you see some of these creatures living down there.
Crazy.
And who knows if some of them are, I'm sure there's still prehistoric stuff that maybe scientists thought was extinct for how many millions or thousands of years. And that's still down there, but we don't get down there. How do you explore that? It's fucking creepy, man.
I mean, there's a thing in my head where like part of me goes, maybe they don't want to go down there because they fear they know what's down there already. You know what I mean? Or like there's something down there telling them you're not allowed to come here. You know what I'm saying? Because like otherwise you would think like some maniac would be like, I'm building a spaceship and going, like Elon Musk could be like, I'm going to the deepest depths. And if you read like that 10,000 leagues under the sea. Yeah. It's just, it's all terrifying. It's all like insane. But like, if anything I've learned in my 34 years on Earth, it's that you can't say for sure about anything, especially anymore. So there's so much information out there and there's so much misinformation out there that you don't know where to fall either way.
No.
Even if you think you can trust whoever's telling you.
Dude.
So like, I just try to find some middle ground and enjoy the ride.
Right.
There you go.
It's like the Stinger said, the only thing that's for sure is nothing is for sure.
Exactly. Are you a Eric Von Daniken fan? Have you read any of his books, like Chariots of the Gods or anything?
No. I've heard people talk about it all the time on like different podcasts and stuff, but no.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting points he brings up with like past and ancient stuff and like how they were able to do certain things with like, looks like certain tools were used that weren't invented back then. It's really interesting to go back into like in the past and think about that stuff.
Well, that's like the whole what's the guy with the crazy hair?
Oh,
Like,
Giorgio Tsoukalos. Yeah.
So like you watch those shows and you're like, yeah, the pyramids, like what's going on? And there's like, yeah, this rock weighs like 7,000 tons. And you're like, humans pushed that 14 miles. And you're like, what are we doing here, guys?
Up 30 stories.
Like, yeah, it makes sense. They dripped water on the sand, so the sand would. And it's like, how do they stack it then? And they have some explanation for it that makes like, I picked up tires for 10 years. I'm just like, there's no way you're picking up anything like that big.
Exactly.
So like, yes. Yeah, nothing they say makes sense on the other end of it was aliens or it was nothing. Unless like Godzilla was real and Godzilla was chilling with humans back then. He was just like playing Legos with these rocks, and then he went back to the deepest darkest depth, the ocean, to go to sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Cue the Godzilla sound.
There you go. Yeah, it's crazy to think about, man, especially the pyramids in different parts of the world back then when there was no like long distance traveling. And then you have certain artifacts and art from, different civilizations back then that sync up with each other, but they had no ways of communicating. All that shit just interests me to no end. Like, it's just mind blowing to think about.
If you look at the sleeve of my arm, it's like, it's a UFO dropping a key down into like the woods. And like, it was just like, to me, I think that like I'm a big fan. It's not that I think and believe this, because like I went to Bible study and Bible camp as a child. I don't know where to fall on any of this. Like I'm clearly not a good Christian because I don't 100% delve into the fact that like that exists. But I recognize that there is a possibility that there is a God, because if there is, he wouldn't want us to know it. You know what I'm saying? Like we would all, like you would have to, you know, and if he is, he would be like or if it's a he or she or what, you know, I don't think it's anything. I think it's just the most powerful thing on earth, like in the universe, possibly anyway, if it exists, but like not to get off on that, but like the religion stuff and all that stuff. I think that we were engineered. Like they say like the aliens lived on Mars, and then Mars got like, it was going to dust, and it's like the whole Superman story of them coming here and planting DNA into like, you know, something, and then that's how we came to be. And that's why, because it was almost like there was a big bang theory for like the earth materializing, and then there was this hundreds of millions of years of literally nothing but like, you know, worms or whatever, and then all of a sudden they dropped this like piece of DNA, and it was like another big bang theory of life, and that's where like all evolution started. So it's interesting. I enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Cue the evolution theme songs, friend. No, wait, we'll get sued. Don't. Evolution is a mystery.
Oh boy.
Yeah, dude. I think that the older stuff. Hold up, friend. Shut the fuck up. God, you always trying to talk. You don't talk. Remember, you hush.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, he was gearing up.
He was gearing up. I think, like you guys are talking about, to me, on that whole situation, the stuff that really strikes me is, like you're saying, Bodie, with the ancient civilizations and the different ones. That's the stuff that really kind of makes me question, not so much the modern stuff of whether, you know, anybody's like said or whatever, because people have discovered these different civilizations and, you know, the artwork and the pyramids. That's another thing. Just like you guys were talking about, that blows my mind. These motherfuckers weren't tying ropes and fucking lifting up this heavy ass stone. Who knows, man? But it all goes back to this weird thing where it's like, we probably are never meant to find out and not know. So it's which sucks, because as humans, we want to know, get to the bottom of every fucking thing, you know, and this is something that we can't unless, you know, Independence Day really happens, or the uprising, like Josh is talking about. You know, they come from the dirt. I call that zombies, but whatever. They could be aliens, you know, fucking come out and grab us. The graboids, if you watch Tremors. Crazy stuff. Speaking of, all right,
that's crazy, man.
I was going to transition to something else, but go ahead. Ask your question.
I was going to talk about wrestling.
Go ahead.
There we go.
I have a question about your training technique and how you work. Mm-hmm. So you say, I mean, you obviously, you've said it in different interviews. You've told us that you are like obsessed. Wrestling is your 24 hours. I mean, other than family, like the rest of your life, you're not like woodworking or some shit. So as you get better and better, as you evolve, and like, you know, everybody's always training, whatever that thing is, whether it's jujitsu or, like I said, woodworking, whatever their craft is that they want to hone, your sword is your wrestling. Like that's your thing. What are you like a student of, would you rather spend more time in the ring to kind of, as they say, sharpen the sword, and just have that time where let's say you have a move, let's say, I don't know, some stupid basic like a headlock. Did you rather do like 1,000 headlocks, or are you more and other moves where you hone it, or are you more a person that wants to watch like old tape, you know, watch the legends like do old moves footage, essentially. watch old footage, watch like legends do shit. What do you watch a lot of old wrestling? Like, are you understanding my question? I'm stuttering my way through it. How does that balance work for you? You know,
I do watch a lot of wrestling, but I do not watch it from like as much of a study perspective as I do of just like, I want to consume wrestling, and I watch it. I don't study like the individual movements or stuff like that. I study the psychology more. I like to like watch it as a fan, and then how I react to everything is what I question later on.
Okay.
It's very good.
But if you look at somebody like, he's one of my favorite opponents, one of the best wrestlers on planet Earth, Dave Gresham. Okay. When you watch him wrestle, I know that he watches tape and he breaks down every single individual movement of the best. And then he goes in the ring and he will recreate that and he will train that to its depth so that it's second nature in his mind. I cannot do that. To me, he's the greatest technical wrestler on earth. And that's why, because he's an encyclopedia of everything in that ring at every single moment. My application of trying to get better is to just have as many matches as possible with as many different people in front of as many different fans and in as many different places as possible, because you're always getting put in different situations, and it's how I learn and grow from dealing with those situations that has gotten me to the point that I'm at now. Like, I wrestled in Missouri like 2 days ago and 3 days ago. I had 2 shows on the weekend, and the one show I wrestled a 402-pound guy that's like 6'6", name's Kevin Lee Davidson, and you know, I go in there and I'm just like, I can't do anything I normally do. And there's no match I'm going to look up. Like, I guess I could, if you can find Big Show against Kurt Angle, I could be like, I could totally knock this match off. But like, I didn't do that. I'm going to grow from that. I looked at it as a challenge, and I tried
on the job
see
training,
how I
brother.
could adjust things to make, have that work. And then the other thing I have from 16 years of experience is just, and it keeps getting better and better and better with all this repetition, is the ear for the crowd. So like, I understand, I can hear them without even knowing I'm paying attention to them often. And that's just from how much experience I've had. So it's like giving the people what they want. That's our job at the end of the day. So it's just following along with the crowd and working on the fly, which is, you know, again, the only thing you can get with experience. You can study as much tape as you want. You can get the ring training as much as you want. It's not going to make you better at calling a match on the fly, doing what like real pro wrestling used to be back in like the 70s and 80s and stuff like that. So like, I've tried to kind of go that route, because really one of the guys I've looked up to more than anybody is Bret Hart for that stuff.
Yes.
Nice.
You know, I've tried to apply all that stuff. So
Who were you trained by the way? Because you mentioned a student of the Hart Dungeon.
Johnny Devine. He was.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
dude,
nice.
he was a
Parts
TNA.
in Canada in the early days.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, Johnny Devine's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he's I love him. He's like the father I never had kind of deal. I always say to people, because he was like a positive male role model in my life when I really needed one, when I was like 18, 19. And he taught me how to really be like a man. And it worked outside of wrestling. Like, I applied it to like real jobs and, you know, relationships and all this other stuff. And it really paid off and helped me, because I had no confidence, and I had no upbringing that would have taught me any of those lessons until I met him and went to his training school. So I'm just saying it applied even further outside of the ring.
Hell yeah. Dude, and when you're talking about like on the fly and listening to the crowd, I mean, how was that for you, you know, during this whole pandemic era where, dude, most of the impact was, most of this last year and a half, whatever it's been, has been without a crowd. It's just been piped in noise.
I loved it, man. I love having crowds back. Like that is like invaluable, because like, to me, you can compare wrestling to musicians a lot, but I think the direct comparison is really comedians, because you need that instant reaction to really
change
understand
on the fly.
what you're doing. Like, you can play a song and know it's a good song, but comedians and stuff, when they're up there, they might drop a joke one night, it's fire, and the next night they drop it and it's crickets, right? So you need to understand the crowd you're working in front of. That's why I think that comparison works. But like, for me, it was very beneficial to have no crowds. The whole pandemic era, I have made it like my one goal for my entire career is to make sure that I never left any doubt in anybody's minds in that crowd that what I'm doing might be real. So like, there's no holes in my game, no matter what I'm doing. And I think when you take it with the crowd aspect, you have less distractions. So it puts a microscope on the stuff that's happening in that squared circle.
Yeah.
When there's a wrestling match going on, I think a lot of people suffered because of it. And for me, I applied all the stuff I've been trying to over the years, and it really helped me like stand out, because I didn't waver. I didn't change at all. I went out there and I was just like, there's no crowd, I'm creating a fight. I'm creating a competition. That's just what I have to do. And, you know, if it translates well on television, it does. If it doesn't, at least it's going to look real.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's fucking awesome. That's what you got to do, man. And It's been so weird to watch some of it. Some of it I don't think really carried over well, and a lot of I was watching like some of the. I don't really watch WWE. I'm not gonna say I was watching it. See, I watch like clips on YouTube, whatever sparks my interest, and I didn't really care for the whole Thunderdome thing. I get what they were trying to do, and even the only thing I could say that might be maybe negative on Impact during that was the piped in crowd shit. Because it was like, yeah, I mean, I guess I get it for aesthetic purposes, but just let these guys go. Because when UFC was like doing it, the thought was cool to hear that, like, man, you're going to hear these fucking blows and you're going to hear them fucking hard. So when you get a guy like you or anybody else that's like, we're going to lay him in stiff, do some strong style shit. To me, that was like, fuck yeah, dude, you're going to hear some fucking straight up, like, just hits and blows, like in brutality, kind of bring it more back to like the old school vibes, like it's cool that, you're able to adjust and learn and actually persevere through that because, there's some guys I would watch and I'm not going to name any names or whatever in various promotions that it's like, yeah, this is kind of, they need some crowds back.
Yeah, dude, if you've only wrestled in front of a crowd your entire career, like taking that away is going to be a shock to your system. I was very fortunate that I wrestled 100 shows a year for my first like 5 years at least, and I'm going to say 60% of those shows were in front of less than 30 people. So like I know what having a dead crowd's like. I know what having nobody really there is like. I have a lot of reps with that. So and as would any real independent journeyman on the independent wrestling scene. So
yeah, totally, man. So what's kind of like in the cards for the future as far as, I don't know, like, I mean, do you see yourself as Impact a place that you want to kind of settle in? I mean, obviously there's got to be, like you said, you brought up the term journeyman. You want to go other places. Would you like to do that under the Impact banner, albeit they let you work other places? Or is there somewhere do you really have a desired place that you want to be, like maybe something that from when you were a little kid or like young man breaking into the business that's like, I want to be here? Has maybe that idea has changed for you? Is there something like that out there for you?
Yeah, I said this on an interview like 2 months ago, and like it got quoted and put on Twitter, and everybody kept shitting on me because,
of course,
as I said, I never had the dream of being in WWE. But like, if you take the sentence after that, I said it was because I never even thought being a wrestler was possible. So like, I would never dream of doing it because I never thought the job was even a possibility.
Right.
Now, as a professional wrestler, like I don't care what company I work for. I enjoy what I get to do. And it doesn't matter how famous I'm going to be at the end of the day. If I can make, at a certain point in time, you have to be responsible and you have to know that you have a family and you have to like get ready for your future and stuff like that. So you need to make as much money as you can. So there's that part. Yes. But if every company wanted to pay me the same amount of money, it doesn't matter where I am. I'm going to go to the place that's going to give me the most opportunity to wrestle. That, isn't going to have me cutting 10-minute promos at the start of a show and then have me sit down for 3 weeks and wrestle once on a pay-per-view. Like, I want to wrestle. I want to get my reps in. That's the part I enjoy. I don't enjoy showing up, getting changed into 3 different outfits and cutting 8 promos. Like, I'll do it, but like, I like wrestling in front of a crowd. I like getting that payoff. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I can tell you I will not be a construction worker anymore. I will be a pro wrestler, and that will be my only job for the first time in my life, and I'm fucking proud to say that. Otherwise, the only thing on my bucket list that I care about is thank you. The only thing I care about is going to Japan. I want to do at least a tour in Japan, whether it's that or working full time for a company in Japan. It's been my dream, and I think it can materialize no matter who I work for, with exception of the biggest place on earth, I guess.
Right.
Well, dude, I mean, the doors are wide open, man. Yeah. New Japan, Noah, whatever you do over there, it's New Japan would obviously be the premier spot to be in. And there's so many guys over there I could just see you absolutely fucking killing it with, dude. That like,
oh yeah.
it's fun to speculate. Us as fans and media or whatever, professional wrestling, they could sit there and, make these dream matches. I still make matches on my Nintendo 64. I create like you guys still to this day. And I'm like, well, this is the match I want to have. And I literally sit there and let it play out without playing it, to see what the computer would do or whatever. And sometimes I don't like that decision. I have to rerun it. But,
rebook it.
Right. Dude, it is so cool. Like you're going to have these opportunities. The floodgates are wide open for you, man. Like honestly, I want to say, I know we don't know each other well, but dude, to watch your growth and everything, especially over the last couple of years, has been an amazing journey for me as a viewer, as a fan.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been fucking spectacular for you because you seem like a very humble, but yet fucking determined guy, like there's so much shit that's going to happen for you, man. It's just, it's amazing. And all the shit because you work your ass off, and that's what more people need to get in their fucking systems. Put all the bullshit aside, put your fucking head down and go to fucking work. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're a wrestler, if you're a construction worker, if you're an electrician, if you're changing fucking tires, do the best you can do at any of these fucking jobs, man. As we close here, Josh, let everybody know where they can find you, social media, where you got merch at, anything you want to promote or pop right now. Now is the time to do it.
I would just say Instagram and Twitter. Get at me at @walking_weapon. Through that, if you want to buy some merch and support, I have link trees attached to my bios in both of those. And I appreciate it. If you don't, it's no big deal. Just tune into Impact on Access every Thursday night and, keep watching that because that's my brand and that's the place that I'm going to be, tearing shit up for the indefinite future. So.
Got that right.
You're right. So we're doing some of the best storytelling going on in wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We fucking love it. Josh, thank you so much, brother, for coming on the show. We'll have to do this again sometime. Hopefully, if you had a good time. We'll be seeing you again down the road, man. And hey, dude, like I said before, dude, super proud of you, man. You go get yours, take care of you and your family, and fucking keep killing it, man. Impact's the place to be, working with everybody. I'm looking forward to Bound for Glory. I mean, dude, I don't know who they're going to pair you with, but that's the fucking spot to do it. Let's get those New Japan wet dreams coming true. You know what I'm saying? Give me the X Division match I want. Imagine you work fucking Tanahashi or some shit. Like,
oh my God.
Nice. It'd be insane. It's a great match.
I mean, yeah, anything can happen. If I knew, I wouldn't tell you, but I don't know. So I can't tell you.
It's all good. I wasn't fishing for anything, but it's fun. That's the best part about wrestling that many people forget, to speculate. It's what I enjoyed in the 90s is you never knew what was going to happen. And all of a sudden it got really fucking overproduced and scripted. But hey, I think we're back on the good wave again. There's so much good shit going on in the world of professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode. If you liked it, hit like and subscribe. Be sure to share with your friends. If you're listening in podcast land, share it with your friends and leave us a rating and review and tell everybody that the Juice is the place to be because you know it is. Ooh, yeah. Hey, until next time, the Walking Weapon. Josh, we fucking love you. Thank you again, brother. We got one more thing we got to do. We got to wet them up, wet them up, wet them up.
You gonna do sex to me?
Did you like that video? If so, be sure to hit like and subscribe and check out more killer content from your boys at Juice Pro Wrestling. Whoa, yeah!